And that is the presentation of the state's case in chief. So Ms. Earlywine or Mr. Jones, call your first.
Officer Mike Malinowski, please.
Officer, come forward and be sworn, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. Take a seat, officer. Ms. Earlywine, to you.
Thank you, Judge. Please introduce yourself to the members of the jury and to the court.
Detective Michael Malinowski, Chicago Police Department, assigned to Area 4.
Could you tell us how you spell your last name, please?
M as in Mary, Alinowski.
And you indicated you're employed at the Chicago Police Department. How long have you been employed in that manner?
I've been employed with the Chicago Police Department about 12 years.
Did you have any other law enforcement jobs before that?
That's correct. I was a Skokie police officer for about a year.
What have you received special training in the area, in particular, of DUI enforcement?
Yes.
Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Familiarization of SFSTs in 1997 when I went through the Chicago Police Academy as a Metro recruit. Again in 1998, going through the Chicago Police Academy with the Chicago Police Department. In 2004 and 2005 in the standardized field sobriety course through ITSA and an instructor course.
Okay. You used a couple different acronyms here, so I want to make sure we're all on the same page with what those are. SFSTs, what does that stand for, please?
Those are the standardized field sobriety tests.
And NHTSA, National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
You also had some time where you actually worked in the academy training other officers, is that right?
That's correct.
Did you train in the area of DUI detection?
Yes, ma'am.
And you indicated you're currently assigned to the detective division. What are your typical duties as a detective?
Assigned investigations.
How was it? Were you actually on routine patrol on August 20th of this year?
Yes, I was working a Hireback Safe Streets program in uniform in a marked squad car.
Thank you. Have you also received training recently? Also, NHTSA conducted training called Advanced Roadside Impaired Driving Enforcement Training?
Yes, just recently.
And that's also based on the standardized field sobriety test, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
About how many DUI investigations have you conducted over the course of your career?
Just over 40.
How often do you come into contact with people who are impaired by alcohol?
Objection, not relevant.
Is there line the relevance of that?
It goes to his ability to, relevance to his testimony, foundational as to his qualifications to understand and recognize signs of impairment in individuals.
I'll overrule the objection for those limited purposes. You may answer the question, officer.
Most every day I'm in the field interviewing.
Based on your training and experiences, what type of physical characteristics have you come to associate with people who are impaired by alcohol?
Most common, I would say, bloodshot eyes, glassy eyes, the slurred speech. At times, you'll see people flush in the face, kind of staggered or unsure in their steps, and things along those lines, some swaying when it's inappropriate.
And during the course of your career and in your life experiences, have you smelled the odor of alcoholic beverages on individuals other than yourself?
Yes.
And have you come to recognize that odor as a distinctive odor?
Yes.
Based on also your training and experience, have you learned what types of driving patterns that might signify a person who is under the influence of alcohol?
Yes.
Could you tell us what some of
Again,
those...
Your Honor, I think we're going afield of a limited purpose in its qualifications. We're talking about how other drunks drive, etc.
I'll overrule the objection. I believe we're still establishing a foundation for the witness's testimony. So I'll note it of record, Mr. Costello. You may answer the question. Did you finish, Ms. O'Leary?
Yes.
Very well.
Some of the driving cues of impairment that are taught through the NHTSA courses are turning with a wide radius, drifting and weaving within your lanes, disregard to posted traffic control signals or signs and things of that nature. Things that would be inappropriate or unusual, like stopping inappropriately or at an odd angle, and things along those lines.
You mentioned standardized field sobriety tests. Can you tell us what those are, please?
Other divided attention tests.
What does that mean exactly, divided attention tasks?
What it does is it tasks a person to do something physical and mental at the same time.
Approximately how many times would you say that you've conducted these standardized field sobriety testings, both in investigation and in your training experiences?
In the field, I would say probably 30. In training, countless.
You talked about divided attention and being able to measure the ability to do something mentally and do something physically as being the purpose of the field sobriety tests. So how does this relate to driving?
Well, driving is a complex task that we all kind of take for granted, that you're acting physically to control the speed and direction of your vehicle while visually looking from side to side, trying to interpret your surroundings so that you can react appropriately to stay within your lane or speed and things appropriate in that nature, or react to other vehicles, pedestrians, and so forth.
How many of these standardized field sobriety tests are there?
3.
Tell us what they are, please.
Horizontal gaze nystagmus, the walk and turn, and the one-leg stand.
Okay. Now, before we get into any details on those,